The United States military has a long and storied history that stretches back over 2 centuries. From its humble beginnings as a collection of state militias to its current status as the most powerful military force on the planet, the American military has played a pivotal role in shaping the course of world events. In this video, we will explore the history and origins of the American military, from the Revolutionary War to the present day. Revolutionary War. The origins of the American military can be traced back to the Revolutionary War, which began in 1775. At the outset of the war, the American colonies did not have a standing army. Instead, they relied on state militias made up of volunteers. However, these militias were often poorly trained and equipped, and were no match for the well-trained British Army. To counter the British Army, the Continental Congress created the Continental Army, which was led by George Washington. The Continental Army was made up of volunteers from all 13 colonies, and was the first truly national military force in American history. Despite being poorly equipped and vastly outnumbered, the Continental Army was able to secure a number of crucial victories, including the Battle of Saratoga, which convinced France to enter the war on the American side. The Early Republic. After the Revolutionary War, the United States did not have a standing army. Instead, it relied on state militias to provide defense in times of need. However, this system proved inadequate, as the state militias were often poorly trained and equipped. To address this problem, Congress created the United States Army in 1796. The army was initially small, with only a few thousand soldiers, but it represented a significant step forward in the development of a national military force. In addition to the regular army, the United States also relied on state militias and volunteers during times of war. The Civil War. The Civil War was a pivotal moment in the history of the American military. It was the first major conflict in which the United States relied on a large standing army to fight a war. At the beginning of the war, the Union Army was small and poorly equipped, but it grew rapidly as the war progressed. By the end of the war, the Union Army had over 1 million soldiers, making it the largest army in the world at that time. The Civil War also saw the first use of modern military tactics, such as trench warfare and the use of rifled muskets. These tactics led to a massive increase in casualties, and the war remains one of the bloodiest in American history. The United States entered World War I in 1917, and quickly began to build up its military forces. By the end of the war, the United States had over 4 million soldiers, making it one of the largest armies in the world. The American Expeditionary Forces played a crucial role in the war, and were instrumental in helping the Allies achieve victory. World War I also saw the first large-scale use of tanks and aircraft in warfare. These new technologies revolutionized warfare, and would play a major role in future conflicts. World War II was the largest and most destructive conflict in human history, and the American military played a central role in the war. The United States entered the war after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, and quickly began to build up its military forces. The United States Army played a crucial role in the war, fighting on both the European and Pacific fronts. The war saw the first large-scale use of amphibious warfare, as American forces landed on beaches in North Africa, Italy, and Normandy. The end of World War II marked the beginning of the Cold War, a period of geopolitical tension between the United States and the Soviet Union. During this time, the United States military played a crucial role in deterring Soviet aggression and defending American interests around the world. The United States Army was heavily involved in the Korean War and the Vietnam War, both of which were fought against communist forces. These conflicts were controversial and divisive, and led to significant changes in American military policy. Since the end of the Cold War, the United States military has been involved in a number of conflicts around the world. The Gulf War, the war in Afghanistan, and the Iraq War are just a few examples. Today, the United States military is the most powerful in the world, with over 1.3 million active duty personnel and over 800,000 reservists. The military is divided into 6 branches: the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and Space Force. The American military has undergone significant changes since its inception. Today, it is a complex organization with multiple branches, specialized units, and cutting-edge technology. In this video, we will explore the current structure and organization of the American military. The Army is the largest branch of the military and is responsible for land-based operations. The Navy is responsible for operations on and under the sea, while the Air Force is responsible for air-based operations. The Marine Corps is a specialized branch of the Navy and is responsible for rapid deployment and amphibious operations. The Coast Guard is responsible for maritime law enforcement and search and rescue operations, while the Space Force is responsible for space-based operations. Each branch of the military is organized into a hierarchical structure, with different units responsible for different tasks. The Army, for example, is organized into divisions, brigades, battalions, companies, and platoons. Each unit has a specific role and is responsible for different aspects of military operations. The Navy is organized into fleets, which are responsible for operations in different parts of the world. Each fleet is composed of multiple ships and is commanded by an admiral. The Air Force is organized into wings, which are responsible for different types of aircraft and operations. The American military also has specialized units that are responsible for high-risk operations. These units include the Army's Special Forces, the Navy's SEALs, the Air Force's Special Operations Command, and the Marine Corps' Force Recon. These units are trained to operate in high-risk environments and are often used for covert operations. The American military is known for its use of cutting-edge technology. From advanced weapons systems to sophisticated communication systems, the American military is always looking for ways to stay ahead of its adversaries. One example of this is the use of drones. The American military has a large fleet of drones that are used for a variety of tasks, including reconnaissance, surveillance, and targeted strikes. The military also uses advanced computer systems to analyze data and make strategic decisions. The American military is known for its highly trained and skilled personnel. In this chapter, we will explore the training and recruitment process for the American military. The recruitment process for the American military involves several steps. The first step is to contact a local recruiter, who will provide information about the different branches of the military and the requirements for joining. Once an individual has expressed interest in joining the military, they must take the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery (ASVAB) test. This test measures an individual's aptitude for different types of military jobs. After taking the ASVAB, the individual will meet with a recruiter to discuss their test results and their desired career path. They will then undergo a physical examination to ensure that they are physically fit to serve in the military. Once an individual has been accepted into the military, they will undergo basic training. Basic training is designed to prepare individuals for military life and to instill discipline and a sense of duty. Basic training varies depending on the branch of the military and the individual's job, but it generally lasts from 8 to 13 weeks. During basic training, individuals will receive instruction in basic military skills, such as marksmanship, physical fitness, and military protocol. After completing basic training, individuals will attend advanced training, which is designed to provide specialized skills and knowledge for their particular job. Advanced training can last from a few weeks to several months, depending on the job. The American military places a strong emphasis on continuing education and professional development. Soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines are encouraged to pursue educational opportunities throughout their careers. The military offers a variety of educational programs, including the GI Bill, which provides financial assistance for higher education. The military also offers on-the-job training and certification programs for specific jobs. The American military has a long history of technological innovation and advancements. In this chapter, we will explore some of the technological developments that have been made in the American military over the years. The American military has a rich history of technological advancements. From the development of the first ironclad warships during the Civil War to the invention of radar and jet engines during World War II, the American military has always been at the forefront of technological innovation. During the Cold War, the American military developed a number of new technologies, including intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, spy satellites, and stealth aircraft. These technologies allowed the American military to maintain a technological edge over its adversaries. Today, the American military continues to make significant technological advancements. Some of the most notable developments include unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. UAVs, also known as drones, have become an increasingly important tool for the American military. UAVs are used for a variety of tasks, including reconnaissance, surveillance, and targeted strikes. Cybersecurity. The American military has invested heavily in cybersecurity to protect against cyber threats from other nations and non-state actors. The military has also developed offensive cyber capabilities to be used in the event of a cyber attack. Artificial intelligence, AI. The American military is exploring the use of AI for a variety of purposes, including logistics, decision-making, and autonomous weapons systems. Directed energy weapons. The American military is developing a range of directed energy weapons, including lasers and microwave weapons, that can be used for a variety of purposes, including disabling enemy vehicles and aircraft. The American military is one of the most powerful and capable in the world, with a long history of operations and interventions across the globe. In this chapter, we will explore the different operations and interventions conducted by the American military around the world. Since the end of World War II, the American military has been involved in numerous operations and interventions around the world, including Korean War, 1950 to 1953. The American military intervened in the Korean War to stop the spread of communism on the Korean Peninsula. Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975. The American military intervened in the Vietnam War to support the South Vietnamese government against communist forces. Gulf War, 1990 to 1991. The American military intervened in the Gulf War to expel Iraqi forces from Kuwait. Afghanistan War, 2001 to 2021. The American military intervened in Afghanistan following the 9/11 attacks to dismantle al-Qaeda and remove the Taliban from power. Iraq War, 2003 to 2011. The American military intervened in Iraq to remove Saddam Hussein from power and eliminate weapons of mass destruction. In addition to these major operations, the American military has also conducted numerous smaller-scale operations and interventions around the world, including humanitarian missions, peacekeeping operations, and counterterrorism missions. The American military has a global presence, with troops stationed in over 150 countries around the world. This presence allows the American military to respond quickly to any threats or emergencies that may arise. The American military also has a number of military bases and installations around the world, including in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. These bases and installations serve as important logistical and strategic hubs for American military operations and interventions. The American military has undergone significant changes over the years in terms of diversity and inclusion, with women and minority groups playing increasingly important roles. In this chapter, we will explore the roles and contributions of women and minority groups in the American military. Women in the military. Women have been serving in the American military since the Revolutionary War, but their roles were initially limited to nursing and other non-combat positions. Over time, however, the roles and responsibilities of women in the military have expanded significantly. Today, women serve in all branches of the American military and in a wide range of roles, including combat positions. In 2015, the U.S. military officially opened all combat roles to women, signaling a major milestone in the history of the American military. Despite these gains, women still face challenges in the military, including discrimination and sexual harassment. The American military continues to work to address these issues and create a more inclusive and supportive environment for all service members. Minority groups in the military. Minority groups have also played an important role in the American military, with African Americans, Asian Americans, and Hispanic Americans among the many groups that have served with distinction. In the early years of the American military, minority groups were often relegated to non-combat roles or segregated units. However, over time, their roles and responsibilities have expanded, and today, minority groups serve in all branches of the military and in a wide range of roles. Despite this progress, minority groups still face challenges in the military, including discrimination and bias. The American military continues to work to address these issues and create a more inclusive and diverse environment for all service members. The American military places a strong emphasis on ethics and human rights principles. These principles guide the behavior of service members and ensure that the military operates in a manner consistent with American values. Ethics in the military. The American military has a code of ethics that outlines the values and principles that all service members are expected to uphold. These include integrity, honesty, accountability, respect, and courage. Service members are also trained in ethical decision-making, which involves considering the potential consequences of their actions and choosing the course of action that is most in line with ethical principles. Human rights in the military. The American military is committed to upholding human rights principles both domestically and internationally. This includes adhering to the Geneva Conventions, which set out the rules for the treatment of prisoners of war, and protecting civilians in conflict zones. Service members also receive training on human rights issues, including the importance of treating all individuals with dignity and respect, regardless of their background or circumstances. The military also has mechanisms in place to investigate and address any allegations of human rights abuses, and service members are held accountable for their actions. The American military has a long history of working with allies and partners to achieve common goals. This collaboration and partnership have been critical in addressing global challenges and advancing American interests. Collaboration with allies and partners. The American military works closely with allies and partners to address a range of global challenges, including counterterrorism, regional stability, and humanitarian assistance. This collaboration is often facilitated through joint military exercises, intelligence sharing, and coordinated operations. The military also has a range of international partnerships and alliances, including NATO, which is a critical component of American defense strategy. These partnerships and alliances allow the United States to leverage the strengths and capabilities of its partners to achieve shared objectives. Challenges in collaboration. While collaboration with allies and partners is critical to achieving American objectives, there are also challenges that must be addressed. These include differences in culture, language, and military doctrine, as well as competing interests and priorities. Effective collaboration requires building trust and understanding between partners, and establishing clear communication channels and shared objectives. The role of the American military extends beyond national defense and global security. The military also plays an essential role in supporting the economy during times of crisis, particularly during periods of high unemployment and economic downturns. The military also offers a range of job training and education programs that can help veterans and their families transition to civilian life and enter the workforce. These programs include vocational training, apprenticeships, and tuition assistance for higher education. In addition to job creation, the military also supports local communities during times of economic hardship. For example, the military can provide disaster relief and humanitarian assistance to areas affected by natural disasters or other crises. The military also has a range of community outreach programs that provide support to local organizations and community groups. These programs can include volunteer work, community service projects, and educational outreach. Military personnel who are deployed to combat zones are exposed to a range of dangers, including enemy fire, improvised explosive devices, IEDs, and other hazards. They may be required to work long hours in extreme weather conditions, with limited access to food, water, and medical care. The military takes steps to minimize the risks to its personnel, including providing protective equipment and training. However, the reality is that military personnel in combat zones face significant risks to their safety and well-being. Military personnel deployed to combat zones may also have to live in difficult conditions. This can include sleeping in tents or other temporary structures, with limited access to sanitation facilities and other basic necessities. In addition to the physical challenges of living in combat zones, military personnel may also face mental health challenges. Exposure to traumatic events and stress can lead to conditions such as post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and other mental health disorders. The military provides support for its personnel who are exposed to difficult working and living conditions. This includes access to medical care and mental health services, as well as support for family members back home. The military also has programs in place to help personnel transition back to civilian life after their service is over. These programs can include job training and education, as well as support for mental health and other challenges. The United States Army has a significant presence in the digital world and is actively engaged in cybersecurity and information gathering activities. In this section, we will explore the Army's role in cyberspace and its approach to information operations. As technology continues to advance, the Army recognizes the importance of having a strong cybersecurity infrastructure to defend against cyber threats. The Army Cyber Command, ARCYber, was established in 2010 to provide a centralized command structure for cyberspace operations. ARCYber is responsible for defending Army networks, conducting offensive cyber operations, and ensuring the Army's ability to operate in a contested cyber environment. In addition to defending against cyber threats, the Army also engages in information operations to influence and shape the information environment. This includes activities such as psychological operations, electronic warfare, and social media engagement. The Army's information operations proponent is responsible for developing and integrating information operations capabilities to support Army operations. The Army also plays a role in collecting and analyzing information to support military operations. The Intelligence and Security Command, INSCOM, is responsible for conducting intelligence, security, and information operations to support Army and joint military operations. INSCOM's capabilities include signals intelligence, human intelligence, and geospatial intelligence. Another important aspect of the Army's digital presence is its use of the Internet and social media. The Army uses social media platforms to connect with the public, recruit new soldiers, and share information about Army operations. However, the Army also recognizes the potential risks associated with the use of social media and has implemented policies and training to promote responsible social media use. Overall, the Army's presence in cyberspace and its information gathering capabilities play a crucial role in supporting military operations and ensuring national security. We would like to thank you for watching this video on the U.S. Army. If you found it informative or interesting, we encourage you to share it with your friends and family. By liking, subscribing, and commenting, you can help us create more content on topics like this. We appreciate your support and engagement, and look forward to bringing you more valuable insights and information in the future.